Hey, welcome to our first episode of the year 2026. JJ, how's your year going so far?
Pretty good. I was scared. Remember that song in the 60s? In the year 2525. I didn't know what that. I thought we had flying cars by now. So I was a little freaked out, but so far so good. It hasn't changed a whole lot. Pretty good, man. First, welcome to 2026, everybody. I hope you guys had a nice holiday.
Yeah, and let me get housekeeping done real quick. Those of you who are watching us on the YouTube channel, please remember to subscribe to our channel so you can have our information when it drops. Those of you who are on Facebook, please like our Facebook page, and all that helps the algorithm, which is my word for 2025. Um, if you would like to contact us, you can contact us through any one of our platforms, send us a direct message, or you can use the old-fashioned email, one card, one cup, one beer at gmail.com. And for those of you who would like to support our efforts, and then again, who wouldn't? Who wouldn't? Go to patreon.com and in the search bar, type in one cardinal, one cup, and one beer, and you can support our efforts for 10, 5, or $3 a month. And all of that is greatly appreciated. Uh, JJ knows this. Last week I said my wife has been fighting COVID. I also got COVID. And by the end of the podcast last week, I was like,
I,
but
I could tell you.
I did get up the next morning and I got it all uploaded and everything.
MVP right there.
So I don't know if I'm an MVP, but I do know this. This is my second go around with COVID, and I'm not contagious anymore. Now it just feels like a cold. But anyway, I had to struggle with it through all the football for the weekend, trying to watch football and trying not to die, stuff like that. But made it through the weekend. We're all on the mend. Um, very good. So, what did you do for New Year's Eve?
Absolutely nothing. I actually had a sinus infection. Working at the VA, I got swabbed for COVID and flus. They sent me home. I was clear, but something wasn't right. So I went to urgent care. Happened to know the nurse practitioner there. I didn't know they were working there. And they said, "Oh man, you got all kinds of drainage in your left ear and your throat's sore and you got a lot of drainage." And I'm on augmentin right now, which is pretty hard on your stomach. If you got to be careful, you got to eat with it. But I really don't feel like eating a whole lot. I'm just drinking a lot of orange juice, water, that kind of stuff. And so I slept a lot. Vince, I'd be up for maybe 3, 4 hours, sleep an hour or two or an hour and a half. So I was like that around the clock. And I discovered a show. We had when I at one time we didn't have enough money for cable. Cable was too expensive. We cut all of our costs, and one was cable. And I discovered a show while I was sick, home for about 3 or 4 days. The show with Brett Michaels, where he's like a dating show, a reality dating show. The worst show ever. It's the end of civilization. This guy can manipulate. He's a victim, and oh, it's tough being a rock star. And I got diabetes. I mean, he turns everything around, and these women are fighting over him, and I'm like, this is worse. But I couldn't stop watching. But it's like, couldn't stop watching. They brought their parents in. I'm like, what parents would put up with this shenanigans? And I just was like, I got to watch the follow up show where they all get back together. They one girl got a tattoo. Her first tattoo said Brett on the back of her neck. But they came back and he said, I got another tattoo. And she lifted her hair and said, Brett sucks. They all hated him after that. 3 months later, he's got another 20 girls fighting over him on a new season of the show. And I was like, I can't believe this was a hit. But I don't know. It's like watching a train wreck or something. You're like, what is going on here? But I tell you what, tip of the cap to Brett Michaels. He knows how to. He's promoting his beers, his new song. I wrote you a new song, and he thinks it's by half of them. Some song about missing you and finding your true love until next season, and then he finds a new true love. That's what I did. 2026.
I did make sure that I watched Indiana destroy Alabama.
Whoa.
That was Alabama for me are the Yankees, the Cowboys, of the the Lakers of college football. I
Great.
cannot stand the arrogance. And I watched Indiana. Illinois had a good team this year. They won their bowl game. I think they finished 9 or 10 wins. They had a good
That's
team.
good.
And when they played Indiana, Indiana absolutely destroyed them. I mean, it was like a basketball score. Not from Illinois' point, but Indiana like 65, 70 points put on Illinois. And I thought, okay, Alabama, I don't think belongs in here. They have 3 losses. The SEC is not that good this year. The Big Ten is much better. And I just saw this coming and I wanted to watch it. So I made sure that I was up for that whole. I watched from kickoff to the end that beating that they just put on. They ran on them, they passed on them, they harassed the quarterback. Alabama couldn't run the ball if they had Barry Sanders in the backfield. It was just yes. So I'm pulling for Indiana. I always pull for the underdog, of course. I'm a Cup fan, but I really am pulling for Indiana to win these next 2 games and to take home the national championship. I
You
think that
said that last week. You said you like the Big Ten and you were rooting for those teams. So you said that last week, even before this. So I give you your props there. You stand by your teams there.
yeah, the only disappointment was Ohio State uh, got handled by Miami, and Miami played way over their heads, and Ohio State just looked flat. But all the other Big Ten teams have made very good showings in the bowl, and the only yeah, I would like it if it was 2 big teams that could be in the championship, but Indiana's playing Oregon in the semifinals, so only one Big Ten team is going to make it. And Indiana handled Oregon pretty well during the season, but that doesn't mean anything right now. Oregon looked good in their bowl game too. So anyway, that's not baseball. This is what baseball is. The Astros signed right-handed pitcher Tatsui Imai to a 3-year, $54 million contract. And last year I was on last year. I guess it was last year.
It
Last week
was.
I was on here saying, that's a target that the Cubs are looking at. And then when they didn't get him, I thought, wait a minute, he only signed for 3 years, 54 million. We couldn't outbid that. And so I was puzzled. And I actually said on here, if he goes somewhere else, I hope it's because of the money, or I hope it's not because of the money. I hope it's because of the weather. And I'm thinking, I know the Cubs, that was well within their range. At one time, he was projected 8 years, 180 million. So I'm thinking, what's going on here? So I do want to give credit to Matt Cozy on Locked On Cubs broadcast or podcast because he broke it down, and I'm thinking, okay, I see how this happened. The Astros signed him 3 years, 54 million, and there's 2 opt-outs, an opt-out after the first and the second year. So um, he gets a $3 million bonus this first season of the contract if he exceeds 100 innings, which means as long as he doesn't get hurt, like a major injury, he's going to exceed that. Let's say he makes 20 starts and he averages 5 innings a start, he's going to get his
Boom.
100 innings. So now you're looking at instead of that first year being 18 million, you're looking at it really being 21 million. And then you had to pay a $10 million posting fee to his Japanese team. So now that's 31 million. And with the opt-outs, that means you could be getting this guy for 1 year, 31 million. That's pretty expensive for a
Yeah.
really good pitcher. And this is why his stock really shrunk. When I've watched videos on him, fastball plays, mid sits about 95 and he can hit 98, 99. He's got a great slider and it's kind of a reverse slider. It's got a funky angle to it. But Matt Cozy was saying he doesn't have a third pitch. And I thought, he's right. I watched the videos and I haven't seen anything but the fastball and the slider. And it's very difficult for a starter to play play at a high level without a viable third pitch. I just look at Cade Horton. What made his difference this year was instead of just being fastball slider, he added a changeup and he could control it and became a star. Um, so that means he's more like a third or fourth starter. And in the Major League Baseball, if you only need to sit on two pitches and you can watch the slider and just sit on the fastball, you can be hit.
Oh yeah.
So I got okay if all these major league teams are watching this and they've all come to the same conclusion. It's too big of a gamble. And that's why Houston got him for what is well below what he was originally projected to get. So I thought he could end up being uh, Yamamoto. He could end up being Kodasenga. Uh, he could end up being Imanaga, but he could end up being a disappointment. And a $31 million disappointment who may opt out, I just don't like. And if he is a $31 disappointment and he doesn't opt out, then you're on the hook for $20 million for 2 more years for a mediocre pitcher. So I'm like, okay, I do get that. So the Astros get MI 3 years um, with the incentives. It's about 61 million. Um, so congratulations to Houston. I do wish him the best, but I do understand now why the Cubs felt like there are still better options on the table. And I'll get into that whenever we do Cub news. Um, I thought this was a very fascinating trade. The Twins traded their first baseman, Eric Wegman, who hit about 250, but, almost 500 at bats and still didn't hit double digits in home runs. And you can't have that for your first baseman. But they traded him to the Marlins for minor league left-hander Cade Bragg. And when I looked at Cade Bragg's minor league numbers, he's got an ERA below 3. I think the Twins, first of all, left-handed relief pitching or left-handed starters that are quality, they're not easy to find. I think the Twins may have got a pretty good pitcher here, potentially. So I kind of like the trade for the Twins to see what they could do. And I know the Marlins have been looking to plug in first base with different players for a few years. I mean, they had went into last year with Matt Mervis as their first baseman. That lasted about 6 weeks, and then bye bye to him. So, and then the Twins also signed Orlando Arcia to a minor league contract. Arcia played with the Brewers and the last couple seasons been playing with the Braves. Um, Boy, his stock has fallen to where he's now just
Yeah.
signing a league player. But if he bounces back, it's a pretty good signing for the Twins. I kind of like that. Uh, the Blue Jays signed the other big Japanese star that was posting this past weekend, third baseman Kazuma Okamoto for 4 years for 60 million, and he will kind of assuring that Bo Bichette will not be back. So, and I'll get into that when I get to the Cubs. So, the Giants signed right-handed pitcher Tyler Mahle and Bailey. I think it's the pronunciation. And if those of you who are Central fans remember him from his days with the Reds, it's been about 4 or 5 years. There's one of the starters. Last 2 years, he's been pitching for Texas, and last year for Texas, he pitched about a half a season, and his ERA was 2.18. And his manager last year, Bruce Bochy, he vouched for him to the Giants. Hey, this is a pretty good pitcher, would be a good addition to your staff. So the Giants signed him. We'll see how that goes. Uh, Baltimore claimed Joe Kinsey Noel off waivers from the Guardians. Joe Kinsey Noel, just one of the funnest names in baseball to say.
Big
Um,
Christmas.
yeah, I didn't. So many players get waived after the season. I don't pay attention to who all was
It's tough
waived,
to keep up with all of them.
so I didn't know he was waived. But that's some outfield depth that he may not make the team, but he's kind of been a tweener AAA major league player for a few years now. So maybe he can help. And Washington claimed Joey Weimer off waivers from the Giants. I saw him in Omaha last year, playing for the Tigers organization, minor league. So um, I think he has potential still.
I do
Um,
too.
Power, and he had a bad game in Omaha. I know that, but anyway, so I did not like last year's trade of Mike Yastrzemski from the Giants, and I know he's in his late 30s now. But gosh, I loved him as that outfielder who could start for 20 straight games or who could be the fourth outfielder. He was so versatile. Um, so those are the transactions. There's absolutely no obituaries this week. So everybody's had a pretty good 2026 as far as staying alive. It's the John Travolta year. Everybody's staying alive, staying alive.
Yeah.
Staying alive.
Amen to that. Woo. Hey, 2026. This is also for us collectors. It's Topps, who is my favorite cards. I know there's more ones that are more valuable, but this is Topps 75th year of making baseball cards. 75. So they've got the box is I think it's got like Aaron Griffey Jr., uh, Aaron Judge, and I think there's somebody else on the new packaging that will be coming out soon. So that's what's great about baseball. The cards are coming. The preview magazines for all you people that play fantasy baseball, they'll be out on the shelves here soon. Just little signs that spring is coming. Plus, here in Missouri, I don't know what's going on, Vince. Christmas was like 75. Today it was like 66. What the weather's been absolutely spring-like, and that always gets a little extra. I know we haven't been feeling our best, but it gets a little step, a little pep in your step right there. And it's a very special episode tonight. We've had all kinds of episodes, we've had all kinds of guests, but tonight is our mustache episode. The big mustache is going on now. The Topps update set. There's three sets that come out every year: the Series 1, Series 2, and the update set. And the first one, I believe, had Ohtani. The second one had Aaron Judge. And Vince, I had to show you this because I couldn't keep it hush much more because we'll open cards later in the show. But look who's on the update set box. Recognize that, young man?
Oh my gosh.
Yes, he's made it. Look at that. They got all kinds of different.
Awesome.
There.
Oh, there's upside down.
Oh yeah. And let's see, there's one more. Oh, okay. So that's it. PCA. So I think that's cool. They've got a East Coast, West Coast, and a Central guy. And PCA, I'm happy for him. I'm happy for the Cubs. I'm happy for the Midwest that he got to be represented on the cards. And I will even show you the pack. So if you go to the stores for the update set, this is what they look like with Mr. Pete Crow Armstrong on there. Now, isn't that cool? Very cool.
That's cool.
Yes. So these
Hey,
update sets are basically you got series 1 and 2 of all the players, and then the update sets are the players that came up at the end of the year, maybe June on, and they might have a date for their debut on it, or just are some guys that may have just come up for a cup of coffee and are still technically rookies. So you might get a JJ Weatherhold in there. Of course, being a Cardinal fan, I've been really paying attention to JJ Weatherhold, but a lot of those kind of players. And I was looking. Remember the player Daniel Vogelbach? Big Dan. He
yeah.
looked like a softball guy. He's returning to Milwaukee as their hitting coach, which is cool because I like him being part of the thing. I love seeing him in a Brewer uniform. I don't know how long a career he had, but it wasn't terribly long. But I'm still glad he's part of the game. Don Mattingly Okay, by the way, Daniel Vogelbach, no mustache. No mustache. Don Mattingly used to have a mustache, no more mustache. He is going to the Phillies as a bench coach. And it's always good to have Donnie Baseball still part of the game. He'll be over there with our enemies, the Phillies, but I wish him well. A great part of baseball. And last year, ESPN cut ties. They used to have the Sunday night game. On now NBC has a baseball package they're putting together, and it looks like the leading candidate for the voice of NBC baseball is Jason Benetti, the voice of the Detroit Tigers. I think he was a White Sox announcer. Then he went to the Tigers. Right now, so what base MLB is going to have is a Sunday morning games, which they did a little last year. It's on the Peacock network, which I guess is affiliated with NBC, and then they'll have a Sunday night game on NBC. So that's cool. So we're not missing out. We're getting actually Sunday morning if you got Peacock and NBC and able to watch NBC because and they'll have the exclusive rights to the wild card rounds because I've heard a lot of people say, "Hey, you can't unless you buy cable or got all this stuff, you can't even
Yeah.
watch some of the games. There's so you got to chase them around on all these different apps and stuff." So I hope baseball clearing that up because you're just alienating your fans and get it out there. People want to see these games, and you're lucky people still want to watch the product. So make it as easy as possible for the fans to get to see this stuff. Um, let's see.
Let me ask you something real quick.
Sure.
Going back to baseball cards, Bowman, their 75th year, or tops their 75th year. What is the oldest? First of all, I know that they kind of evolved from like cigarette packs in the very early days, but what was the oldest brand to really catch on? And number one, and number two, what is the brand that has been around the longest that's still around?
Well, one of those brands that came up in the 80s there in the 90s, and no, it would have been the early 80s. I think Fleer, maybe. There was one of those companies that had cards years ago, and then they went away and they came back.
Now, was that
But
Bowman? Because I thought Bowman had
maybe it was Bowman.
I thought seeing Bowman really old cards made by Bowman somewhere I've seen that. So
Well,
that's why.
the Hornets Wagner 1908 T, it's a special kind of card. All the old collectors will know this. Those T, Tony Pruno has some. I met some other people who have some of these kind of cards. But I also saw Tony had a steel, it's like almost like a steel plate that it was engraved with a team picture. And he had it in his collection there, and it was his great grandfather's. And he's just so he admires it like it's an heirloom because this you know, they went to the Depression, all these years and wars and everything. And the grandfather held onto this steel engraved card. Basically, it's the size of a card. And I think that's so cool. That Lord knows what that card's been through. But I tell you what, Vince, I'm going to do a little research on that because I can't give you a proper answer. I came along probably in 74 and Tops had been going strong. And I'm pretty devoted to Topps cards, but you're right. There's a bunch of old cards. There was postcards. That was kind of a little thing that happened in there too. Teams would send out if you send a letter to a player, they send out just a generic, you know, uh, postcard with a little inscription on it. And sometimes the player signed it. Sometimes the ball boy or somebody in the clubhouse signed it. You know, but there's so much history of that it's the card itself is over probably getting near 125 years old now. So I'm gonna research that. So I can't give you the right answer to be honest with you.
Okay.
I was looking at the moves Toronto. I think they're going for it. Vince last year they were one catch away from winning that World Series, and man, that lineup looks incredible. They got depth. They went out and got Cease. Man, that team is going to be tough. Now, we've seen that before. You look at a lineup and go, how can this team get beat? And then they end up in third or fourth place. Injuries, sometimes players don't play like you think they would have. But right now on paper, Toronto looks really, really good. And I'm happy for them. And by the way, I'm going to two Toronto games this year. It's a long story, but I'm going to Niagara Falls, and I weaseled two Toronto Blue Jay games out of going up on a train and seeing the Blue Jays play a couple of games. So that's going to be in May, and I get to see them play the Pirates. Huh?
Very
The
cool.
Pirates. Yeah,
The Pirates.
that's right. So that'll be a good time right there. Uh, Vince, can I give you some? Last week I got a few letters from people saying, hey, I love that crazy stat you had. I got some crazy stats, and I went with triples. The category is triples. Now, the three guys I took the top three in all-time triples. But the thing was, these guys played, that all-time triple guy played 1899 to 1917, and that was a guy named Sam Crawford. The outfields were huge. These guys were fast. If they hit it in the right spot, they just run forever. Ty Cobb has the second most triples with 295, and Honus Wagner of the Pirates 252, which is the National League record of all-time triples. Now, only two players in the last 50 in the top 50 have played in what I call our era, the 19 after World War II. So, would you care to take a guess? Both National League players, both Hall of Famers, both in our division that played in, you know, either a Red, a Pirate, a Cub, a Cardinal, or a Brewer.
Um, Rose.
Great. You know what? He had a lot of triples, but no, he's not in the top 50. I'll give you the first one. The first one was he's the 19th in all-time triples, and he was in the Navy during World War II for a couple of years. Um, he's got us. Both of these guys have statues outside their stadiums.
Musial.
Usual Stan, 177 triples, 19th all time, and the 27th guy,
Day.
Clemente. Look at you.
Okay.
Nothing gets past you. That's excellent. Roberto Clemente. Uh, in let's see, the most triples in a season was a guy named Owen Wilson, 1912, 36. But there have been two guys since World War II that had 23 triples in a season. One was a guy named Dale Mitchell, and the other one is a player that I think we both respect. Nice guy. Played on a lot of teams. Curtis Granderson, 23 triples in a season. That's pretty.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Now, most triples in a game. There was two guys with four, but it was in the 1800s. All right. There was one guy, Chief Wilson, had a triple in 5 straight games. All right. All right. Let's see. Three triples in a game has happened 36 times. And I'm going to give you some of the guys that did it in the year. In 1973, which is the most current one, Al Bumbry of the Baltimore. Remember Al from the Baltimore
Oh
Orioles?
yeah. Very
3
fast guy.
triples. Bert Campaneris from the Kansas City A's
Yeah.
in 1967. And then Ernie Banks in 1966. I wanted to name a Cub. 3 triples in a game. And Jim Bottomley of the Cardinals in 26. He actually played in the 20s, but he did it 2 times. He's the only one on the list. And he was a Cardinal first baseman. Did it twice. So I was just kind of paying homage to the triples. And the last triple stat I have is the most at bats without a triple. There is a catcher named Joey Estrada, 2079 at bats without a triple. And he played for the Braves and the Phillies. That's a long time. Vince, I think if you gave me 20 years, I don't think in the big leagues, I don't think I could even sniff a triple. You know, in high school ball, I could hit a triple. Maybe a double. I hit a few doubles, but not a triple.
I Most triples you see are hitting to the right field corner. Um, but when you have someone who hits a triple that hit it in the left field corner, that's amazing. I remember the first time I think I saw that. There was a game that the Cardinals had, and Templeton was batting left-handed to lead off the game and hit a ball in the right field corner for a triple. Later on, batting right-handed, he hit a ball in the left field corner and he stretched that into a triple. So people say, the triple is one of the most exciting plays. I think the triple when the ball is in left field is more exciting than the triple hit to right field because that's such a short throw from left field to third base. You have to be really hustling to get there. And then like last year when um, Carson Kelly hit that cycle in Sacramento and he hit it should have been a two home run game with a double and a single. But the ball that was a triple hit right on top of the wall and then kind of scooted down and rolled away from the outfielder. And that's the only reason why he got a triple because, he's a catcher. He doesn't hit triples. So a lot of triples are something goofy has happened like that. I was watching a White Sox game where I don't remember who the right fielder was. It may have been Baines and Chet Lemons in center. And there was a ball hit to right center, and the right fielder dove for it and got hurt. And instead of Chet Lemon going and getting the ball and throwing it in, he checked on the right fielder. So the guy got either a triple or an inside the park home run. And I remember Jimmy Pearsall screaming, "Throw the ball, throw the ball, throw the ball." And he's like, "That guy's not going to die out there. Go get the ball, throw the ball, and then take care of him." That's
Check
how
on
it's.
him. Yeah, it's usually some sort of dive. And I've seen here lately, I've seen some players not get up and run after the ball. I was at a game last year where O'Neill Cruz just stood there. The right fielder, a young kid in his first year, had to run all the way over and get it. Oh, the Pirate fans were very upset. My
Yeah.
two favorite. There was a playing candles at the new ballpark in San Francisco where it hit the wall, and it's kind of a weird outfit field, and it ran along the warning track, and they were just chasing the ball while this guy's running the bases. I think they ended up inside the Parker, but the other one was one of my favorite triple of all time. Being a Cardinal fan, Rafael Frucal led off against Holiday. It was a Holiday Carpenter for the playoff to win that playoff round, and Frucal just got a triple at the beginning, and of course we got that run in. Thank God, because Holiday was lights out after that. We just caught him before he really settled in, and then Carpenter was nails the whole game, and that ended up being the winning run. So my all-time favorite triple is that Frucal leadoff triple where he scored the run and we won 1-0 in one of the most best pitching matchups since I've been a fan for the Cardinals.
Oh, well, Kyle Tucker's market has slowed. You're not hearing many people kicking the tires on him. And I think the projections of a $400 million contract, that's never going to happen. I think a lot of teams are scared off because, like I've said on here, we had the best of Kyle Tucker in 2025, and when he was the best, we had the best offense in baseball. We also had the worst of Kyle Tucker, and when he's not going, he's pretty bad. And like I said, the fielding for a guy who's won a Gold Glover, he doesn't like walls, he doesn't like other people, he gets alligator arms. I know he's a dominant bat when he's going, but I don't want to invest 8, 10 years on a guy $40 million a year who you don't know when the light's going to go off. And people say, well, he was injured last year. Well, he got injured at the beginning of June and he had a very good June. So the injury is not what bothered. He just flat out lost it for the rest of the year. So his market has slowed, and I'm very interested to see what's going to happen with that. Is there a possibility he's going to do a Cody Bellinger thing and pivot back to the Cubs with an opt out? I don't know. Um, and we're talking a lot about this, uh, the market slowing for players, and you're not seeing the Otani and the Soto contracts. Um, it seems to me that, I mean, the Mets are still spending, but they're not, the Soto contract was huge. But it seems to me that the Dodgers are becoming an island. Um, the Cubs the Yankees, the Phillies, all these teams that have traditionally spent a lot are really showing some restraint.
You think that
And
might have something to do with the possible strike coming next year? I
I
mean,
think
maybe.
that's I think that's a possibility. But I also think that, like the Cubs showed last year, um, if you do things wisely, and I keep hearing, if you do things the mid-market way, like the Cubs have last year they had a World Series caliber bullpen. They did. It's just the offense at the second half just fell off the table. And this year they've invested a lot in their bullpen again. Um, but and I'll get into, they're signing this week. It's not been the big splashes, but it's been guys when you look at the metrics, boy, that's a good pickup for that kind of money. So that you're talking about the looming lockout possibly. I think the owners are going to push for a hard cap, but I don't think it's going to happen. I see a scenario where this is going to be where the compromise is made. Okay, we will not have a salary cap. We'll keep the luxury taxes. And there's nothing we can do to stop the Dodgers from exceeding the luxury tax or whatever team wants to, because the Dodgers, they print money now. I mean, that's what they do for a living. So,
Right.
uh, but I can see the compromise being okay, we're going to have a salary floor. And that's something I've been pushing for years. We're going to have a salary floor and make sure these other teams, you want to do something stupid and pay Jack Sawinski 20 million a year, go ahead, Pittsburgh. But that money is there for you to bring in quality players to give people a reason to go to the ballpark and to make you more competitive. I don't want to see the days anymore where teams are losing 120 games like the White Sox and the Rockies have the last couple of years. There needs to be a floor set that says you have to spend, let's say, 120 million on payroll. That's your minimum. Get the salary floor, keep the luxury tax for the teams that want to go over, and not necessarily eliminate deferred contracts, but regulate them.
Yeah, I
Something
like that.
you can only defer 25% of the total contract. You can't defer 90% of it. You can't do something like that. And I think that's where we're going to have to end up. And I hope we end up there without taking anything away from the season. Because let's face it, the players are never going to agree to a hard salary cap.
No, yeah,
And I'm telling you, I don't like watching millionaires fight billionaires over money that I can't even fathom.
right.
But I do get the principle of it. They're making so much money as owners and they don't have to disclose it. There's no way I'm going to vote for a salary cap. There's no way. If everything is, the books are so closed and everything, and um, baseball has that exemption from Congress, they're running differently. The NFL, the NBA, they all have to disclose everything. Not baseball. They can all say, "Oh, we're going broke." Okay, well then, if that's the way it's going to be, then you don't deserve to have a salary cap. Every team has a salary cap. It's how much they want to spend. That's your salary cap.
There
That's
you
why
go.
I want a salary floor. So teams that say, you know what? I think we'll spend $80 million on payroll this year and put out a shit product and have no fans come. But hey, there's a TV contract, we'll just kind of do our thing and be a major league team. I create a floor, man. Get some of these cheapskate owners out of here if they don't want to hit the salary floor. Sell the team to somebody who wants to be competitive. That's what I'm saying.
Baseball's in a good spot right now as far as, they cut back on their minor leagues and baseball contracts all over the world. Baseball is more popular now than it's ever been. In the United States, baseball was more popular, of course, in the 40s and the 50s and the 60s. and then football as the king. But it's still very popular, and they still make a lot of money. But I'd like to see something where at the trading deadline, like Twins last year got rid of 10 of their 26 guys. Like maybe we can cut back on that a little bit. Maybe you can move a few players, but I don't know. Is that against freedom there if you want to get rid of all your guys? But
No,
that
but
just killed them last year.
that's one of the benefits of having a salary floor. You can't get rid of 10 players and drop below that.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
You
Okay.
know,
Hey, you know what? That is a great idea, Vince.
if you
Yeah.
have a payroll of 150 million and you got a salary floor of 120 million, you can only shed 30 million dollars off at the deadline, and that would stop fire sales. That would make sure that a team didn't tank.
Yeah.
Um, a salary floor just makes so much sense, and I just don't hear anybody talking about it. And I'm not the smartest guy in the room, and there's nobody in this room. I'm not the smartest guy in this room,
But
but even I can
Bingo,
think,
Bongo, the cat,
yeah,
he's out there somewhere. Yeah.
uh,
No, I'm with you. I've heard a lot of people talk about a salary floor, and I actually hear that more than I hear the cap because if teams want to spend, like you said, crazy money for a player. Back when we had the steroid era, they were spending crazy money, but it was the middle players. I remember Jay Bell got this crazy contract from the Royals, I believe. Now I understand your Sotos and your Barry Bonds and your, all those guys are going to make their money. But it was the middle players that it got kind of Brady Anderson and those guys just were making stupid money there for a while. And I mean, if you can get one person to pay you that, but things just got out of control because these guys were hitting 40 home runs who, people had never seen that before. But I'm with you, Vince. And the international players, I thought there was like a thing before where you could only spend so much, and if you did, you had less to spend the next year on these international players because it looks like not against the Dodgers, but they do seem to have a highway right from Japan over to the Dodgers. And I remember if you got like a big foreign free agent, you didn't have as much to spend next time on that. I somewhere along the way it seemed like that changed or something like that.
well, I think there's still an international spending limit, and it floats depending on your circumstance. But I think that the Japanese players from Japan, that's a little different
Oh,
because when you're talking about players from Cuba and Latin America, they're not coming from a highly competitive major league
and they're usually
like
kids.
like the Japanese players who most of them they're playing out their first few years because they have to make their money in Japan, and then they come over here. There are a few who have gambled. Otani is one of them, where they gamble on themselves that they're going to make it in Major League Baseball, so they don't play. I think they required 6 years in Japan. They kind of use a loophole to declare themselves free agents. So I don't think that that applies to the Japanese players. I think it's more of a Latin America
Oh, okay.
uh, type thing. Because at one time, you had organizations who were just in Latin America, just signing up everybody, all the Latin players. And
Yeah. So they kind of fixed that for a while since then, right? They was
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Okay.
So,
I remember the Cardinals were trying to sign Luis Roberts, and the White Sox overbid us, and it was only like I don't know. To me, compared to everything else, that's like $1 million more, 500,000 or something. I was like, oh, and they turned out to be a pretty good ball player too. But
yeah.
uh, but I remember there was a time where it was more like that, and the Dodgers is just man, come on over, be a part of our team. Which is, I mean, that's if that's the rule, that's the rule. I'm not crazy about it though.
See, I wish it was just more like the
Draft.
um, NBA or NFL draft.
Oh yeah, they just go into
It,
the.
yeah, in baseball, you could do like, I don't know, I know they used to do like 50 rounds. I don't know how many rounds they do anymore, but you know, uh, everybody's a free agent. All these amateurs are free agents and are eligible for the draft. And you just, if you want this guy from Cuba, draft him. Or if you want this guy from Los
Tennessee.
Angeles, draft him. If you want this guy from Korea, draft him. Put all these people in there, and that way you don't have to have this whole system where you have the draft
Yeah.
and then the international signings. Just
I
throw them
like
out.
Vince. You got my vote for commissioner right there. Vince Auber commissioner. They don't have a commissioner anymore, I don't believe. Or, oh yeah, they do, but it's a figurehead. It's not like the old days, not like Judge Mountain Landis or anything like that. Hey, you mentioned Bellinger and Tucker in the same breath, and I've been thinking a lot about that because it seems like you said, the Tucker, the excitement around him has really, on the surface level, has really slowed down. But it seems like the Bellinger has heated up because he is very good defensively. He plays the outfield. He plays first base. He's a little more diverse than Tucker, although he is older. But I've heard almost every day some kind of rumor about Bellinger. In the time you had Bellinger and Tucker, uh, which guy? I mean, you probably don't want to spend that kind of money to get either of them back, but which guy had a better time with the Cubs, Bellinger or Tucker?
Yeah, Bellinger's first year in Chicago was pretty good. His second year, he had injury problems, and then he went to the Yankees and he's had a couple decent seasons with them. Um, um, or was it just one season? I don't remember now. But anyway, I I was more comfortable with Bellinger because he was more versatile and um, better defender, much better defender, no matter where you put him, center field, right field, first base, much better defender than Tucker was. Um, Bellinger, um, they both stole their share of bases. They were both pretty good base runners. Um, Tucker is a little more of a disciplined hitter and doesn't strike out nearly as much as Bellinger. Um, but this is like an intangible. Tucker is kind of an introvert. Yeah, he's not the kind of player that he's not an Anthony Rizzo. He doesn't have this personality that everybody gravitates to. Um, Bellinger was kind of like that. So I think Bellinger was a better fit in Chicago. And I don't think I think Bellinger liked playing in Chicago. I don't think Tucker really cared where he was playing as long as he got paid. I He didn't strike me as someone who he never came out and said, "Oh man, the Cubs are awesome," and blah blah blah. I really love this organization. He was very guarded, and there were discussions while he was rolling of doing this extension during the season, and then he stopped hitting. And then by the end of the season, management said, bye. Um, so, and get in a little bit to the Cubs. The Cubs have kicked the tires on, and this is not rumor, this is verified. They've inquired about Bo Bichette, and I'll get into that in a little bit. They've inquired about Alex Bregman, and they've also revisited Bellinger.
Ah, I didn't
To
know
kick
that part.
the tires there. So, um, is it possible that Bellinger could reunite with the Cubs? Yeah, it's kind of possible. Um, that that bat would be very helpful in the lineup. So we'll see. I mean, I'll get into that when I get into Cubby news.
Sorry, I get excited. I run all my basically. If you're a player like that, and the Cub fans fall in love with you, that's the play. I mean, if the fans are with you, and there's no why leave. I would like if I remember PCA. Now that's a guy the Cub fans love. He runs out there and they're cheering him, and he hustles and he gives you his all, and it's just absolutely. I remember Sammy Sosa running out there in right field, and the Cub fans just going nuts for him. And through the years, there's just some player that the fans just kind of go to. Here in St. Louis, of course, Yachty here he couldn't do nothing wrong. We loved him, and he'd play his heart out. He just loved it. Sometimes he's hard to get. If you're on the opponent, he's not the nicest guy. But if you're a Cardinal fan, you're like, I want that guy playing for me, you know. But there's been guys through the years, and if you got a fan base that just loves you, I would do everything I could in my power to stay as long as I could, you know. That's just how I feel about it, and I just think he was one of those guys that the fans kind of gravitated to.
With the way Wrigley is constructed, with the short power alleys and the bleachers right on top of the outfielders, the left field bleacher fans and Ian Happ, I mean, there's a bond there. I mean, Ian Happ every year uh, puts a couple $100 around a rubber band, throws the ball to the stands to where his fans are, and says, "Buy everybody beers," you know. Um, PCA, the fans love him, and he loves them right back. He's always acknowledging the
You can
fans.
tell.
Yeah, and you look at right field last year, you didn't see a whole lot of
I
that
know.
going on with Tucker. And you think about, this since I've been watching Cub baseball, the fans have loved the outfielders because they can talk to them.
Yeah.
You know, they this it's not this great chasm between them. They're standing right there because the power alleys are so short. So going back to like Gary Matthews, so loved in
Sarge.
left field. Yeah, and Andre Dawson and right, and Sammy and right. And going into the World Series years, Dexter Fowler in center, the fans just loved him. Even Jason Hayward, even though he had a very disappointing career in Chicago, he was great to the fans, and the fans loved him, and he gave to the community. And I just don't see that kind of connection with Tucker. I thought Bellinger connected pretty good to the fans when he was there,
I did
and
too.
I think that component is a little overlooked. And a lot of people complain about Ian Happ. He's got this no trade clause. We're stuck with him. You know what you're going to get out of him. He's not going to be an all-star. He's going to hit 20 home runs, going to hit 240, have a high up, win a gold glove, whatever. But in Wrigley Field, he fits so good because he connects to the fans. And the oddity about Ian Happ is he hits better on the road. I mean, ask Pittsburgh, ask Cincinnati. He
St.
single-handedly
Louis.
every year. Yeah. Um, but I think if you're going to be an outfielder in Wrigley Field where the fans are so involved in an up close way with the ball players, you need to have kind of a personality that they can gravitate to. And I just don't think Tucker ever really latched on with the fans. Not his fault. He's an introvert, and that's his personality. And I get that. I'm an introvert. I sometimes it's like pulling teeth to have small talk with people. That's just the way introverts are built. But when I would not be a good outfielder in Chicago, but let me tell you, JJ, you would. You'd be talking to all the fans,
I'd be jumping in there, partying with them every once in a while. Like Tom, what was it, Tom Browning or something? Want to climb up on there on the thing or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tom Browning. By the way, AJ Pradinsky, who does a podcast, I heard they were talking about their five favorite stadiums, and he said Wrigley Field. And the other guys go, wait a minute. They hated you in Wrigley Field. And he goes, I loved it. He goes, the fans were right there. They just booed me as hard as they could when I was in Wrigley. He goes, I love playing. So even the opponents love playing at Wrigley Field. And I've heard players say when they got to the big leagues and they got on the Wrigley Field, it was like, oh my gosh, I've made it. Look, I'm playing at Wrigley Field. So all you folks out there, if you get a chance, go see a game there. It's just, I don't know, man. It's just you're walking on sacred ground, I believe. And I'm just a baseball fan here.
It is a cool experience. Any other general news?
No, that's it for me, Vince.
Now, last week I finally determined I had COVID. And when I rewatched the broadcast, I realized last week we really didn't do Cardinal news, did we?
we we sprinkled it in there, Vince. That's okay because at the end, I'm always kind of got an eye on the clock because I get long winded, but that's okay. During the winter, there's just you know rumors and this and that. And every once in a while, there's a little move. But I'm gonna do Cardinal news. All right.
But we did almost 2 hours. It was one of our longest podcasts ever. and I'm watching this, and even because at one time I said something about you said something like, "Yeah, let's do Cardinal news now." So I put Cardinal news up there, and then I don't. As I'm editing it, I skip over to where I find the Cub news picked up. I did that,
Yeah,
and when I watch, I'm thinking, we're really not talking about the
that's
Cardinals. We're
all
still
right.
baseball. So, uh,
Oh man.
Cardinal news.
Cardinal news. All right. Hey, the Cardinals signed a left-handed pitcher, and that's pretty important. The Cardinals on our 40-man roster, we've only got now three, but there's a guy by the name of Justin Burrell, and he actually pitched for Toronto last year out of the bullpen. He's a lefty. He did a good job, but when Toronto, and he'll turn 29 in June. He's 28 right now. He'll turn 29 in June, and the Toronto had signed Tyler Rogers, a big time bullpen guy. There was nowhere left for Justin to go, so they released him. Cleveland picked him up, but then they signed a free agent. And I'm trying to find the name of the guy they signed. It's a big name player, but they signed a reliever, and so and that's just a baseball. You always got these guys coming up or these specialists, and whoever fits the team the best, or sometimes it's just a younger guy, they get the jobs. So the Cardinals picked him up. He's going to become the spring as of this moment, unless we sign somebody. But we've only got three left-handers in our bullpen. We got JoJo Romero. Now he's proven, and he may be our closer this year. We're going to find a lot out in spring training. And we were talking about tanking. I don't think the Cardinals tanked. I just think we've been just a mediocre team for the last 3 years. 3 years ago we were horrible, and then 2 years ago we were like 4 games over 500, and last year we were 6 games under. So we're just a mediocre team. But I don't think we're tanking. We're just looking at the young guys. We're kind of in a pivotal time. Things just work out. So I'm kind of standing by my Cardinals. We're not tanking. We're just not good. And that might be even worse. I don't know. But anyway, we got three lefties, and this will be one of our lefties and going into our bullpen. Also, the Cardinals are having some problems with our TV deal. I had some notes, and I think it's in my other notebook, but the Cardinals are having some problems, and a lot of teams have had this, and MLB steps in and helps them out. We'll get something done, but or the Cardinals they can do it on their own and get a deal done. But I know in December, the partnership we had broadcasting the Cardinal games did not make a payment. And and they're having a lot of problems. This company that a lot of teams went with, I think that's something like in the lower teens, affects a lot of teams like Cleveland. I know it affects them too. So we'll see what's going to happen. But I think somebody will be wanting to show the Cardinal games. It'll be fine. And MLB will step in if they have to, but I think the Cardinals have something they're going to do. The Cardinals have a lot of things coming up. We're looking for a right-handed bat, maybe a veteran outfielder. Vince, we found him right
I'm
here.
right-handed, and I
Are you
own a
reasonable?
bat.
We got to worry about that. The floor. We're going to have to pay you quite a bit. We've cut a lot of spending. But we still got Donovan and we still got Arenado, and there's talks of them, some Lars Nootbaar talk. So I don't know. We might be coming to spring with all three of those players, and if that's so be it, so be it. But I know Chaim Bloom's looking for the best deals, but we're looking for some veteran hitting, and some of the guys available. We might reunite, like you were talking about. Maybe the Cubs will reunite with some of their players. Tommy Pham's out there, Grychek, Harrison Bader, who would be the most expensive, but he'd be a perfect fit for this team right now. But he went to Philadelphia and Minnesota. He's starting to got a little more pop in his bat. I don't know. Philadelphia, Vince, is that a place home runs travel out pretty good there?
Yeah,
Philadelphia's,
they're pretty good
yeah.
hitters.
So maybe that does help him being in those ballparks instead of some of the other ballparks he's played in. But Harrison Bader would be a perfect. Max Kepler, and there's a few others on the list. So and I have always been a fan of Austin Hayes. I got to see him play with Baltimore. And that kid, it seems like every year he's on a different team, but he hustles, he plays good. I saw him play right field in Kauffman Stadium, and he looks so good. And man, that guy just such enthusiasm. He would be a perfect, piece for us because we do have to build a bench as well. And last year our bench was kind of lean. So that's some of the things coming up. I know we're going to probably pick up a veteran, pick up some pitching. There's a lot of older pitchers out there or guys that maybe, been floating around or just coming off of injuries. And I hate to say that, but there are guys like Walker Buehler, I think is available, but he after his surgery, Vince, he just hasn't seemed to found it. But there's a lot of pitching out there too. I'm excited. I think the Cardinals should sign two or three of these guys, bring them up spring training, and see who can do it. We got some young pitchers too, but they're young, and then some of our guys unfortunately had to go through Tommy John. So there's just so much happening there, and I know that's kind of a weak Cardinal news after we didn't have one last week, but that's all I got. It's wintertime, and I'm excited. I think I heard something. It's only for pitchers and catchers coming to spring training. Man, we're just like maybe 6 weeks away, something
Yeah.
like that. Oh, Vince, I'm excited.
Oh,
That's it for Cardinal news.
I'm really excited. So, in Cubby news, we signed right-handed relief pitcher Hunter Harvey, 1 year, $6 million. Last year, he was limited to 12 innings in Kansas City due to injury, but he only walked one in 12 innings and did not give up a run. So we're counting that he's going to be healthy this year and be a contributor. $6 million for a guy who only pitched 12 innings last year. That's kind of stretching it for me, but I am glad that they are investing in the bullpen. They learned their lesson 3 years ago. You can't go into the season without a good blueprint for the bullpen. And last year they did an excellent job stacking veterans with young players, and those who didn't work out, they didn't keep them forever. They said, okay, we're moving on. So I like the pickup, and we'll see how that works out. As I've already said, the Cubs have kicked the tires on Bo Bichette, Alex Bregman, and Cody Bellinger. So I do expect one offensive free agent to be signed. And then as far as pitchers go, there's the rumors that Mackenzie Gore and Edward Cabrera are on the block for trade. Or if we want to go the free agent route, there's the Framer Valdez is still on. The top pitcher, Ranger Suarez, the second best, second rated pitcher on the free agent class. He's still available. Zach Gallen, who I'm not impressed with. I kind of went over that, but yeah, his name's still connected to them, so we'll see. One of the interesting things is that Nico Horner has been floated all offseason in trade rumors. And that may sound weird until there is a rumor going around that he approached the Cubs for an extension. He wanted 6 years, 130 million, and they didn't want to do that. So if they're not in a position to negotiate a contract, this is his walk year. His trade value is going to be as high as it's going to be at this point in time. Then possibly he is a trade candidate. You could look at a Cabrera for Florida. Will they trade for a Nico Horner? He's going to demand pretty good money as a free agent. I don't think so. What about Mackenzie Gore? Putting him in a package for Mackenzie Gore. Would he do that? Washington has paid players in the past. If Washington thinks they could re-sign him, that may be a possibility. So I'm not wanting Nico to get traded. I'm wanting him to get extended. But if an extension doesn't work out, I do think that there's a possibility he could be gone by the beginning of the season. And if there's not an extension worked out during the season, if he's still with the Cubs, I certainly expect him to be gone at the trading deadline, unless the Cubs think we have to have him to win a World Series. So we will see. You know who every team needs to have to win a World Series?
Jeremy Connor.
Jeremy Connor will win you a World Series. Comes a time in every man's life when he needs some advice on relationships. you need to listen to the podcast DMDR, which stands for Dating, Marriage, Divorce, Remarriage, from my good friend Jeremy Connor, the Dr. Phil of the Boot Hill. You can find DMDR on Spotify or whatever platform you choose to listen to your podcast. Okay, JJ, we kind of stumbled onto this last week. We're going to do our all mustachioed team that we saw play. Because if we went back into the archives of the 1890s, we could come up with some mustaches that guys could use as gliders. I mean, so
the House of David, those Jewish guys with the curly hair and the beards. Oh yeah, that was some happening things going on right there.
So we decided not to do this. I picked out a left-handed starter, a right-handed starter, a relief pitcher, all the positions, including DH. That's what I did. So
I broke down a bunch of players. I went through my cards. I went through pictures. I just things that tickled me. And when we decided to put it as a team, let me just say I took a few liberties to squeeze some of these guys into spots. But I've got one starter. But Vince, the position that I'm going to say right now, the position with the best mustaches by far is the relief pitchers.
Oh yeah, the bullpens.
Oh yes, I think it's a part of the allure. Like these guys are just like caged animals. Let them out. They run out to the mound and everything. I think that's part of the allure of the relief pitcher.
And I've only got one modern player
Oh,
in my list.
I have none.
These are all players that I've seen play, but only one player that I have on my list is still playing today. And I have one guy who was pretty obscure, but dang, he had a great mustache, so I put him on here.
Great. Hey, mustache can put you over. That's a whole culture there. There's a lot of people like the mustaches. I won't get too deep into these stories, but there's some mustache fans out there.
As Peter Griffith once said in an episode of Family Guy, with great mustache comes great responsibility.
Uncle Ben.
You want to start with pitchers?
Yeah, I'll start with pitchers. All right. I only have a starting pitcher and the rest of my relievers as far as the pitching thing goes. I'm going to say starting pitching, best mustache. Catfish Hunter and the Flying V. It starts here and it flies out like that. The Flying V of Catfish Hunter. Catfish Hunter didn't have time to trim that up. He's too busy throwing no hitters and winning 20 games. Man, Catfish Hunter. And I think that's part of it. By the way, Charlie Finley paid those guys extra. And back then, players didn't they made what the common man made back in them days, or, well, a pretty good common man, I guess. But they got paid extra to grow mustaches for that mustachio team. The Oakland A's, the all-time greatest mustache team, too, I think. But anyway, the Flying V, kind of the Catfish Guild kind of thing going on. So Catfish Hunter's my starting pitcher.
I have two starters. My left-handed starter, I have Randy Johnson. Not the fullest mustache in the world, but the most scraggling, unkempt-looking mustache. So I put him on here because how can I say this and still run for office? I don't hate him because he's not good looking. I only hate good looking men.
That Catfish is borderline. But yeah, Randy Johnson, he's one of us, man.
I don't hate him, and I wanted to put him on here because I love that scraggling mustache that looked like it hadn't seen a comb for a few decades. So I got Randy Johnson as my left-handed pitcher, and being I got two starters, I'll do the right-handed pitcher. My right-handed pitcher is my only current player. You take a guess. He was a Cardinal.
Oh, he was a Cardinal. Starting pitcher?
Right-handed starter. Great mustache. In fact, he was one of the people who brought the mustache back a few years ago.
Miles Michaelis?
Miles Michaelis. Love his mustache. Very thick, got that woolly worm-like thing, and it's so well manicured. I thought, yeah, Miles Michaelis, you've got the mustache that I like. Good job.
Two things on that mustache. His bobblehead is Yellowstone, like a cowboy theme, and he's got that mustache. It looks great. And I was talking to a good friend of mine, Jana, And I went to high school with her, and I said, "Hey, tonight we're doing mustaches. Got any thoughts?" And she went and said, "Miles." I said, "Miles Michaelis, that's a great one." Yeah, Miles Michaelis. So yeah, so the ladies like the mustache of Miles Michaelis. It just fits them perfect. Very good, Vince.
What do you got in your bullpen?
Well, I'm going to go with two bullpen guys. Since I only had one starter, I'm going to go two bullpens. And my first one, I would be ran out of town if I didn't say Al Rabowski, the mad Hungarian. Now, I've got pictures of him without a mustache. It looks like another, it don't even look like the same person. But when he's got that mustache and he's got that hair and he's turning around and rubbing that ball off the back of his glove, it was an intimidation factor. And, I think people threw the ball harder than Al, but I don't think they put as much, like he grunted when he threw in. You never knew, man, that ball might come in on you or sail away. But Al Rabowski, love it. Very 70s. And to this day, he still spouts that mustache, except it's not the same color anymore. A little Grandpa Jones white, but it still sits right there. Now, the other reliever I have has a Fu Manchu, but it's different than Al's. Al's is thick. Todd Jones has a thin one, but it runs underneath his chin and ends somewhere around here.
Uh,
Yeah, Todd Jones, if he played for a lot of teams, but he was always successful and he's a very good long career. Todd Jones, I'm like, if I was in the batter's box, I'd say, what the heck is going on with that mustache? And before I knew it, I'd be struck out and walking back to the bench. Very good, Todd Jones, very good.
I actually had a tire relief pitcher,
Okay.
and so I do have two relief pitchers. I also have Al Rabowski on here. Um, that's a classic, and as intimidating and menacing as that facial hair was, Al Rabowski is about the nicest human being you ever met.
Sweetheart.
Just when he's off the mound, he's just a nice guy. Everybody likes him. He's personable. Um, when I was a kid, he talked to me like during a game, it's like, how's this stupid little goober? I didn't know you weren't supposed to talk to players during the game. Just a really cool guy. And, I followed him. He used to do sports on Channel 11. And he has had many different incarnations doing Cardinal games. He's done many different radio shows. Just a class human being with an awesome mustache. The second player I had on here, who I thought was going to be your other reliever, I have Raleigh Fingers with the curl. Just just wonderful. And he still sports that today.
Oh yeah. And again, Charlie Finley paid those guys extra to grow the mustaches, and he went with that one. And it's a signature. Yeah, you're right. Very good, Vince. That's a great one. Well, we'll start with catchers and work around the infield. Is that okay?
Oh my God,
I
I forgot catcher.
oh well, I kind of by default has this guy, and the reason I love him so, and he always had a mustache. It was unkept, just like him. When you look at this guy's baseball cards, if he has his mask and his hat off, his hair's unkept. This guy was just a gamer. He went out and played hard, and I don't think he
And
cared about
it's the same guy I was going to put down here, but I forgot.
Thurman
I'm sure
Munson.
Thurman Munson. Yeah, great
Thurman Munson.
mustache.
He took his hat off. He had hair going every direction. He didn't care. He was there to play baseball and fight with Carlton Fisk. That was his mission in life. And what a mustache! Yeah, it was. He had one sticking up here and there. I know there's a dress code with the Yankees and no facial hair except for a mustache. And when I was in the Navy, if you wanted a mustache after you got out of boot camp, you had to put a request in. You had to put a chit. They called it a chit. And so I put it in like mutton chop chits. And they said, Jackson, get out of here. And I grew sort of a mutton chop, but I shaved the other one way up here. And I did inspection. They didn't even see it. They didn't even see it. But don't give me no crap. You didn't even notice my mutton chop. So anyway, you gotta fill out a mutton chop kit. And they said no, but I got the little mustache one. It had to be like, I mean, they had rules. It had to be like so thick, and it had to be the corners of your mouth, no further.
And Thurman Munson used to do the electric shave commercials when electric shave was big in Major League Baseball park for sponsorship. I don't know if you remember that.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, very good, Thurman. Made a career out of that. You want to talk about Thurman anymore on that with his mustache?
No, I will add this. I remember where I was today. I found out Thurman Munson died. I may have told the story on here before. I was camping at Bennett Springs with my dad and my two sisters, and it was the evening, and Dad had a pop-up camper, and we used to sit in these reclining lawn chairs that they had in the 70s, And I think me and my sisters we went swimming at the pool and came back, and Dad just said Thurman Munson died. Huh? How? He said, well, he's in a plane accident. And so when it was like a day or two later, we got home from vacation, and the Monday night baseball game was Baltimore against New York in 1979, the year the Orioles won the pennant. And one of Munson's best friends was Bobby Mercer. Mercer had a home run, and then he hit had a game-winning hit late in the game. So I remember that so vividly. And geez, man, JJ, that was almost 50 years ago. I
Well, it was a Saturday game. I was in Arkansas at my grandma and grandpa's house. The game of the week was on, and they announced it. And I thought, did I hear that right? Of course, back then there was no VCRs, so you had to wait again. Did they say that? Did I here's Thurman Munson? Grandpa, they said Thurman Munson died. And of course, we didn't know. We had to wait for it to be announced again later, but it kind of hit me. And like you said, my God, that was so long ago, but it seems like yesterday. And there's been three people die that kind of hit me that way. Thurman Munson, Elvis Presley. I was in the dentist office with my mom, and I could hear the staff talking. They go, Elvis Presley's dead. And I said, Elvis is dead. And the other was John Lennon. John Lennon, Elvis Presley, and Thurman Munson were the three that just kind of floored me. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, and I remember where I was when Elvis died. I was in the backyard playing wiffle ball with my friends. My mom came to the kitchen window, opened it up, and said, "Hey, we're gonna go out to eat to Ponderosa," which was like going to
Oh yeah,
uh,
that's like
like the
Tony's on the hill.
Carlton for me. It was
Yeah,
like, yeah, go there. He said, "Oh, and by the way, Elvis died." Oh, okay, well, let's go have steak and celebrate Elvis, I guess. And then I remember watching the Monday night game when I was a freshman in high school, and they burst in and said that John Lennon, and it didn't register because um, I, I think it was because of Howard Cosell was saying it. It
yeah,
was almost like, now that's not real. This is something I'm going to wake up to. And then, as a broadcast, gosh, man, John Lennon got shot. Who would shoot John Lennon? You know, I,
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Yoko, yeah, but who would shoot John? So,
She's still here. Yeah, man, I'm telling you. Oh, anyway, yeah, I'm with you, Vince. There's certain moments that you just remember. It's just in your mind. When the Cardinals won, I mean, when we win a World Series or something big happens, it just seems like it was yesterday. I still see David Freese throwing that helmet down at the plate and then jumping on him, or something like that. Just those moments. Or I think that's what makes baseball great. The moments, the players, they come and they go, but these memories are forever.
yeah,
But
for hardcore baseball fans like us, baseball is a marker of time in your
sure.
life. You connect these things like Thurman Munson died. I hated the Yankees, but geez, Thurman Munson died. I remember that so vividly. I remember Mark Fidrich shutting out the Yankees on Monday Night Baseball, and I didn't even know who the guy was. I'm thinking, who is this guy? They're talking about how fantastic he is. I never heard of him. All of a sudden, he's out there and he's like won 10 games, only lost one, just shut up the Yankees. It's like, you know, there are markers in my life that are so defined by baseball. The Sandberg game, uh,
Oh my gosh, yes.
uh, the the Bartman game. I hate to put it that way. They're just markers of your life. So we're getting off on a
Yeah,
tangent.
that's a good top 10 list right there. We ought to do the greatest memories that still are with us to this day, good and bad. good and bad with baseball. Well, first base for me, I call this the GI Joe. It's a mustache beard combo. It's perfect. It don't look real. It looks like it's like Hollywood put it on them. My first baseman is mainly Baltimore Orioles, Eddie Murray. What a mustache beard combo right there. Eddie Murray, horrific mustache, top notch.
Okay, I have Eddie Murray, but I stuck him at DH. So
Oh, but you agree, great mustache.
on there, yeah. Um, my first baseman is Keith Hernandez.
Good one.
Um, with Hernandez played angry, which I always like a player who can play angry. And when he would have his helmet on at the plate, that menacing smile and that mustache, it just kind of made him look even. I'm very angry, and I'm gonna hit this dadgum ball right down your throat. I just loved his mustache, and even though off the field, you'd see him smiling with a mustache every now and then, during the game, that was his signature look, that stern face with that just signature mustache that said, I'm here for business. So I got Hernandez at first.
One quick Hernandez story. You talked about moments that are crystallized in your mind, and it's like a bookmarker. When Keith Hernandez got traded to the Mets, I remember the kids ran up to me on the street. We used to play hockey in the streets and stuff, and they'd say, "The Cardinals traded Keith Hernandez." I said, "Get out of here! They didn't trade Keith Hernandez." And then they said, "No, they really did." And I couldn't believe it. I'm still stunned to this day. We got rid of Keith Hernandez. Man. Anyway, yeah, bad memories, but man, he was a great ball player, and I'm so glad he was on our team for those years he was. All right, second baseman. All right, I'm going back here. This is more with the Pirates. He was one of the great Oakland A's with the mustaches, but I'm
We
going
have the same guy,
Phil Gardner,
Bill Gardner.
Yosemite Sam. I call it the Yosemite Sam. He was. They call him scrap iron because he's always dirty and double play combinations and getting into it. And I love Phil Gardner, but yeah, the Yosemite Sam. Well, I'm gonna let you do the second half because I'm taking some of your guys.
Well, Gardner, what I loved about his mustache was it was Yosemite Sam was very straggly, and I don't know if he chewed tobacco, but it just looked like someone who should have tobacco just dripping down too. Uh, Richie Hebner always had that tobacco face. It's like he's just kind of like gross, but he didn't have like a great mustache. But
Lenny Dykstra. Ugh.
yeah. So
Isn't it his face, everything?
for shortstop, I've got someone who's a little obscure, but I loved his mustache. It's Yogi Berra's son, Dale Berra. Played for the
Oh,
Pirates and the Yankees, and
yeah.
he had a great thick mustache. That Italian face with that big thick mustache, just loved it. So I put him at shortstop. I had to get him in there somewhere. So, and he plays
Well,
a lot of shortstop. So
yeah,
there
I
you
put my guy at short is actually a second baseman. I'm sure he played short at one time or another, but a sign of a good mustache is you couldn't imagine this guy without a mustache. And this fit perfect. He's a good looking guy, played with Orioles and the Angels, but I put Bobby Grich. Bobby
Oh
Grich, good looking fella, which of course we don't like him, but
yeah.
just a tan, great mustache. I applaud you. Top notch, 10 out of 10. Even the Russian judge is giving Bobby Grich a 10. So that's my shortstop.
There we go. Third base, I have a former Cub, also a former Dodger, former Oakland A. The Penguin, Ron Say, had a wonderful mustache at third base.
One of the great nicknames, too, Ron Say. That was a good one. Well, my shortstop, one of my all-time favorite players. I mean, Ted Williams was my all-time favorite, Enos Slaughter for Cardinal, but I love Wade Boggs. And Wade Boggs, another good-looking guy, Boston Red Sox, did nothing but hit. And of course, he went to the arch enemy Yankees. But what a mustache! That's another guy like Bobby Grich. Can't imagine a guy without that mustache. He had a little beard combo going too. So I give Wade Boggs my all-time favorite third base mustache.
Okay. I have three outfielders with three great mustaches.
Oh,
Um, Number one, I'll go back to the Cubs. Bill Buckner had a wonderful mustache. Great looking guy, so we have to hate him. But he had that dark mustache with that dark hair, looked like a matinee idol for the Cubs, and just the dark mustache that would kind of go over his lip a little bit. Just wonderful.
So damn good looking. Makes me sick. Well, my first one, my outfielder, Glenn Burke. He had like a half a mustache, sort of like a Milburn Drysdale, Earl Flynn, the little half
Yes.
mustache. Very prim and proper, very nice. And you don't see that mustache. It's very rare, especially nowadays. But back in the Earl Flynn, Milburn Drysdale from the Beverly Hillbillies, kind of that type of mustache. And I always like when I would see his cards, I go, that's a damn good looking mustache, Glenn Burke. So I give my shout out to Glenn Burke. And I had an Oakland A card where that mustache was just in that green with that nice thin mustache. Very nice.
My second outfielder, former Oakland A, former Yankee, former Angel, Reggie, former Baltimore Oriole too. Reggie, I thought had a great mustache. When I think of Reggie Jackson, I always think of those mid 70s to mid 80s with the mustache going on. The early years when he didn't have the mustache in Oakland, when he was with the Kansas City A's in his first 2 years in Oakland, he didn't have it. Then he's Charlie Finley, hey, everybody grow a mustache. I'll pay you more. So he paid him more. But that mustache with that smile, even though I hated Reggie because he was a Yankee, he had that smile that could light up a room with a mustache. Reggie Jackson wasn't a ball player. He was a superstar. I don't care what he would have done for a living. He would have been a star at it because he just has that kind of charisma.
Very good. Well, I have three categories of mustaches. There's the good, and there's the bad, and then there's the unusual. Well, this I consider kind of a bad mustache, but I'll give you the reason why. My favorite mustache is Dave Kingman. And I know he's one of your all-time favorites as a kid, but Dave Kingman struck me. He had a George, he was a huge man, and he had like a George Hendricks type batting stance. But his mustache, he didn't even, it was unkept. And the thing about Dave Kingman that always struck me is like, it struck me is he didn't care. If he struck out, he didn't care. If he hit a home run, he didn't care. He was going to go up there and swing and give you everything he's got. And I like Dave Kingman. Wasn't the greatest fielder, but I put his mustache in the Mustache Hall of Fame right there.
My last outfielder, it's the mustache. It's also the hair, the whole package from the neck up. Oscar Gamble.
Oh, yeah. What a head of hair. Yeah, I'm jealous right there. Just the hair. Now you got the mustache. Good night. Well, I know we said in our lifetimes, and I went outside the box because, Vince, this is one of my favorite mustaches. This mustache is not a Raleigh Fingers, but it stay like you know how when Ric Flair would go 60 minutes and his hair didn't move, he would be bleeding. The part in his hair was perfect. This guy could play all game long. I seen some pictures of him before the game, after the game. The mustache was immaculate, and it's the closest distance between the mustache to the earlobe. I've never seen it before. This guy played in the 1860s. I went way back for this, and he goes by the name. His name is Monty Ward. Beautiful mustache. Get a load of this guy. I mean, who's that arrogant that can walk around with a mustache and just takes up the whole room? It's Monty Ward, everybody, 1860s.
Hmm. Well, I've already told you my DH, Eddie Murray. Who's you got for DH?
I don't have a DH, but I have a honorable mention. And my honorable mention is, and this is the good mustache, Dennis Eckersley. What a
Oh,
mustache. He could be a reliever, he could be a starter, but he's got one of the best mustaches, and he's in the pretty boy class.
yeah, we don't.
Perfect hair, throws no hitters, saves games, wins World Series. Has trouble pitching to Kirk Gibson, but man, that guy's got a great mustache right there. I'd be mesmerized by it. Going, damn, that's a good mustache. So that's my team right there. Look out, everybody! Mustache team coming in.
Hey, share with us some of your favorite mustaches. I mean,
Yeah,
um, there was such a long period of time where the only time you saw a mustache, like in the 90s for the next 20 years, was with the, the goatee and the mustache. That was famous for a while. You didn't see the straight mustache without the beard for a long time. And like I said, Miles Michaelis kind of brought that back. And now you see players, just sporting a mustache and pretty cool.
Somebody has gotten off the mustache. All right. This guy came up, young player, had a mustache, a bad, not a good mustache, but he shaved it. It just over the winter, Paul Skeens is going clean shaven. Now, I think when he came up, he wanted to look older, so he grew a mustache. I'm talking about that's a good looking guy. With the mustache, not so good looking, but clean shaven, that's a good looking fellow right there.
So we hate him.
We hate him.
JJ, I've got 1990 Fleer.
Ooh, I got, well, the PCA approved 2025 update set. You want to go first?
Sure, I'll
And
go
I'm going to
first.
say, we're not going to go Hall of Famers. I'm going four mustaches. We're going four mustaches.
I will do five mustaches.
Oh, name that tune.
All right. We have the Fleer Action Series stickers. I got the Old Indians logo, the Detroit Tigers, the Kansas City Royals, and the Milwaukee Brewers.
No mustaches.
Baseball quiz. What was Tiger Stadium previously known as?
Well, oh, before Tiger Stadium? Oh,
Yeah.
Lord. I don't know.
It was known as Bennett Park, Navin Field, and Briggs Stadium. I did not know this.
I didn't know that either.
In what season did the Indians establish an AL record of 111 wins in a season? And I know this because in sixth grade, I read the Willie Mays book and I practically memorized it.
Would it be 54 maybe?
Would be 54. Very good.
Oh, just
You the man.
hey.
True or false? I hope Brendan's not listening. The Brewers have never won a World Series game.
Oh, you mean title or game?
Game.
Oh, they've won World Series games.
Very good.
Yeah.
That's false. They have won three World Series games.
Whew.
And number four, true or false, the Royals had the best record in the American League West during the 80s.
The best record in the 1980s, the Royals?
In the American League West, yeah.
Oh, in the West. Hmm, true.
It is true. Very
All
good.
right. I took a guess there. I didn't know.
First player I have is the clean shaven Bob Boone.
Oh, good player, though. No mustache. Good player.
For the Royals at the age of 74. Very good.
Still getting it done.
Yeah. For the Padres, clean shaven Pat Clemens, pitcher, lefty.
I remember him.
Oh, for the Yankees and also played for the Dodgers, the clean shaven former All Star who got the yips, Steve Sachs.
Oh, yeah. He had the yips. Sometimes
Yep.
he'd get the yips.
All right. We have a mustache pitcher for
Bing.
the Astros, Brian Myers. And look at that mustache.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
He's not fully, he's just barely putting a toe in the water. Come on. Get that full mustache going.
This guy has a good mustache, but I think of him more as a beard guy. But hey, he's got a mustache. Hall of Famer Burt Blyleven.
Oh, yeah. I love that curveball, man. One of the great curveballs of all.
Oh yeah. Another mustache. This is a great mustache, and I didn't think of this guy. I would have given him consideration. Former Blue Jay, former Cub, former White Sox, George Bell, former MVP in the
Oh, that
American League.
is. That's a good looking mustache right
Yeah.
there. Three mustaches.
And we have a clean shaven Kurt Young.
Oh, yeah. Good looking guy. You don't want to mess that face up.
We have a clean shaven former Philly, former Cleveland, played for a lot of teams, Met, Roger McDowell.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
One of my baseball groups posted name a great reliever who was never a closer. Roger McDowell was on there.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Really good. This is a great mustache, even though I've never heard of this guy. Pitcher for the Blue Jays, Mauro Gozo. But look at that stash, man.
Oh, yeah. There you go. The little ones on each side.
Making him proud. I'm so
That's
happy.
like Cheech from Cheech and Chong mustache.
I always like when I run across this card because I tell people I've been in his house. Awesome. But he's never had a mustache. Slick Van Slyke, former Cardinal, former Pirate.
Yeah.
Here is the clean shaven Greg Gagne.
Oh, second baseman or
Yes, not
shortstop there, I think.
yeah, shortstop. Not to be confused with Greg Gagne, the wrestler, both from Minnesota, by the way.
Yes. Also clean shaven, I think.
I have never heard of this guy, and he doesn't have a mustache, and his name is hard to pronounce. Vinny DiStefano,
Well, I've heard of
catcher.
that guy. Yeah, good pronunciation. Clean shaven though.
Yeah, have no use for him. Uh, Here's a good mustache. Pitcher for the Mariners, Dennis Powell.
Oh yeah, that's number 5. You were right, Vince. Unless we get another one.
Oh, and once again, the pride of DeSoto, Missouri, with a gray mustache, Jose Oquendo.
Number 6.
That's what I got. This was a good
Man,
mustache.
that's a lot of mustaches right there. Okendo had a good mustache. The secret weapon. All right, here's my stack of cards. I don't know what we're getting. Maybe we'll get an autograph one. Who knows? Let me turn this around. Ooh, I do not know this guy, but it's his rookie card and a nice card. Uh, his name is Brady Feigl, and he's a Twins pitcher. Very nice card. A rookie card. It's got the little rookie marker right there. So that's a nice card. Oh,
Very
he is clean shaven, though. Clean shaven. All right.
interesting.
Nick Allen of the Atlanta Braves. He is a shortstop, and here he is, a clean shaven player right there. I
Be
like
a
the
man
look
and
of these.
grow a mustache, dude. Come
Yeah,
on.
man, come on. All right. Oh, wait a minute. We've got the double daily right here. 2 mustaches, 1 card. It's the Padres. It's Jackson Merrill and Tatis Jr. Look at that. 2 mustaches.
Does it get any better than this?
Man, this
Like
is for all you
mustache
mustache
heaven.
fans out there. Look at that. Oh, a mustache? I never heard of this guy. Denzel Clark, but he's got a mustache.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. Look at that guy, the cross leg catch. Try that at home, folks.
I think he just needs to pee.
Now, this guy, clean shaven, but he's on your team and he's a very good player, Matt Shaw, but he's clean shaven. That's a good look. That's a matinee idol guy right
I don't
there.
like it. Hate
Yeah,
him.
we hate his guys. All right. Andres Munoz, an unkept one. He's
Yeah.
coming in with the unkept one there. So that's number 4 for us in this stack of cards. Oh, Roger Clemens's kid, Colby Clemens,
Woody.
and he's spout a mustache right there with the Twins. How about
Very
that?
good.
Yeah, very good. He's pointing and doing the whole thing. He's doing the double horns, man. He's got it down. Okay, this is a debut card. It's got the debut July 18th, 2024. And this is, oh, Jacob Wilson, debut card.
Hmm.
Let me see, does he have a mustache in that? No, clean shaven. Jacob Wilson. But it's a
Maybe
rookie
we're
card, and
right
you,
someday.
you can't have a mustache if you're going to be aerodynamic. Ozzy had a mustache. So, but yeah, that don't make no sense then. I don't know what I'm talking about. All right, Tampa Bay, Matt Thaiss, clean shaven. Come
Yeah.
on, guys, pick up the game. Where's Charlie Finley when you need him? Oh, clean shaven. Polar bears do not have mustaches. Pete Alonso right there. There we go. Got a little, I like that chrome on there. Oh, clean shaven. One of the all time greats. Chrome card right here. The Mick. Good looking guy. We hate him, but what a player. Mickey
Yeah.
Mantle. And finally, a mustache. We end the episode with a mustache. Third baseman, San Francisco Giants, Matt Chapman, superstar card.
There we go.
There we
Awesome.
go. So we end with a mustache, and that's my set right there. 2025s. I like that set.
So we'll be having guests next week, and the criteria is you have to have a mustache now to be on here.
Well, they better
E-
start growing them. I
Even
haven't checked lately.
even the females require mustaches. My favorite mustache joke ever, and this is just my oddball humor. I love. Have you seen the SpongeBob movie, the original SpongeBob movie?
No, I have not.
Oh my gosh. So the princess is trying to pump up SpongeBob and Patrick's ego and tell them they're not kids, they're men. And so she she picks out some seaweed and puts it on their faces. Look, you've got mustaches now. And so they're walking around, yeah, with our great mustaches. And so then they go to this bar and this guy is ready to, I don't know, get aggressive with them. And he says something about, SpongeBob, you can't do that to us because of our awesome mustaches. He says, and he's clean shaven. He says, that's not a mustache. This is a mustache. He goes, and all of a sudden this giant mustache pops out of his face.
That's a stud right there.
You've got to watch the original SpongeBob movie. It is so funny. I watched the movie before I'd ever watched an episode of SpongeBob because my kids wanted to see it, and I just like laughed at the whole thing. It was man, and then I
I'm gonna
started watching
watch that.
SpongeBob. It
I know
was
there's a new one out too. There's a new
yeah, the new
SpongeBob.
ones are not that good, but the original one is very funny. So
Okay, I'll check that out.
yeah, but anyway, JJ, you have a good week, you and your mustache, and uh, next week we have guests, and hopefully there's a little something happening in free agency.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully, all right, everybody have a great day. Thank you.